Hello everyone, my name is Tyrolf and I suppose it's about time to hop aboard the controversy bandwagon again for them sweet YouTube views. Now obviously quite a few people have already spoken about this topic and I will link a few of the ones down below that I think are absolutely brilliant at explaining it much better than me, but I just thought I'd weigh in because I feel there's a few things that I can say that they haven't. Now before we get into it, I want to say this as it's very, very important. I am an avid believer in free speech. However, this does not mean that people should have to listen to your bullshit to host or promote you while you share it. Whether you agree with Felix or not, freedom of speech does not shield you from criticism or the consequences of your actions. If you are yelled at, boycotted, have a show cancelled, or banned from an internet or an in-person community, your freedom of speech is not by any means being violated. And that is something a lot of people need to understand right now. It's just people either agree or disagree with you or think that you're an okay sort or an asshole and are simply showing you the door. Not to mention that this little concept that I've just explained goes both ways. For people being criticized and those criticizing others. Obviously at this point, Felix Schellberg aka Pewdiepie has been in and out of controversy multiple times over the years. The latest one appears to be that of racism and full-blown Nazism. Many websites have already made their thoughts known on this, according to several legitimate news organizations such as the Wall Street Journal, The Independent, The Verge, and other networks picking up the story. Some are claiming that his videos are so clearly anti-Semitic that it's caused an uproar in what can only be described as mass hysteria of people who are not only not a part of YouTube culture, but also not a part of the mindset of actually researching their facts after getting them from so-called legitimate news sources. I have no hate nor love for Pewdiepie. I watch him on occasion and admire what he has done in terms of building the biggest following by far on the platform and growing to where he has from nothing, and the countless good he has done for the multitude of charities. However, as a result of a few videos he created with quote-unquote anti-Semitism and Nazi imagery, he has recently been dropped from his network Maker Studios. YouTube also has cancelled the second season of Scare Pewdiepie, Scare Pewdiepie being the YouTube Red original that YouTube helped create, which the first season was very well received. He has also been cut from Disney. That being said, Disney owns Maker Studios. However, many people appear to like to say them separately, as Disney is a household name and Maker Studios is not. So, as it makes it seem much more exciting for the news cycle, at least that's how it appears to me. That being said, Disney bought Maker Studios back in 2014, I believe, and is considered to be a subsidiary of Disney, and that is where some of the confusion comes in. Nonetheless, allow me to give my 2 cents in here and then give you the necessary links and sources and information to explain why I believe in what I'm about to say, and also so that you may be a little bit better informed, even if you disagree with me entirely. First, the accusations. Felix is a racist. Felix is a Nazi. Felix had hateful intent with his videos. Felix is supportive of groups like Nazis or white nationalists or hate groups in general. I believe truthfully that all of the above are false, and here's why. First and foremost, he made an official statement on the entire situation, stating, and I quote, "I think it's important to say something, and I want to make one thing clear. I'm in no way supporting any kind of hateful attitudes. I make videos for my audience. I think of the content that I create as entertainment and not a place for any serious political commentary. I know my audience understand that, and that is why they come to my channel. Though this was not my intention, I understand that these jokes were ultimately offensive. As laughable as it is to believe that I might actually endorse these people, to anyone unsure on my standpoint regarding hate-based groups, no, I don't support these people in any way." End quote. Now, the people who actually watch his videos, myself occasionally included, know that he has always had a sense of dark humor and occasionally shows that in his videos more often than not. Does that mean he is a racist or a Nazi? No. Does that mean he might have crossed the boundaries a tad? Maybe. That is not for me to say or to decide, for I am neither a Jew nor am I offended for somebody else. In saying that, many Jews who actually follow him have not taken offense with what Felix has done. It seems to be more of a media and people outside of YouTube and the freedom of expression that comes with YouTube that actually get offended. Does that mean he has hateful intent with his videos? Of course not. If you had bothered to watch the videos yourself and decided to pay attention to the things he had said, you would have seen not only in his reactions, but his voice as well, that he was not expecting these people to do the things that occurred, or even that of the people to take his jokes seriously. If you look at a few clips that the media actually use in order to say that he is a Nazi supporter, the videos themselves are actually parodies with explanations of how the media takes things out of context in order to fit their views, which, funnily enough, They were, more than anything, with their actions right there and then, to an absolute perfect note of what Felix was trying to accomplish. And obviously, again, with the official statement he released, he tells us his actual intentions were not harmful, and has gone on to apologize in multiple videos straight after the original event.
I am sorry. I didn't think they would actually do it. I feel partially responsible, but I didn't think they would actually do it. Before
the media even actually managed to get a grasp of this story. I don't believe what he did was racist, or even meant with ill content. I most certainly wouldn't do it myself, as I'm not a comedian and I'm not one to push boundaries of the language that we use. I'm also fully aware of what I'm saying right now online and offline, and hold myself fully accountable for my actions and words, and I believe Pewdiepie is doing that as well. But I understand that there's controversy online and offline, and there's a hell of a lot more backlash when it comes to things in terms of race, sexual preference, and especially political views. I do, however, believe political correctness prevents us from healing the divides that we create and constantly expand when we focus on actions like this. People should be allowed to say openly what they want, but they should also recognize what they say will have consequences to other people. And those consequences for Pewdiepie seem extremely small in comparison to what people are trying to make it out to be. Now, I'm not in the bandwagon of putting hate towards anyone, that's just not my style, and I'm no way tolerating any form of hate towards any of the media outlets or YouTubers or anyone in the case. I am merely stating the articles, the actions of the people, and my feelings towards the scenario. With that out of the way, I want to also say I'm very happy to have an open-ended discussion and conversation and openly welcome it. So, the consequences, what are they? Felix being drawn from his network and Scare Pewdiepie being cancelled, as well as being removed from Google Preferred, which by the way is supposedly family-friendly advertisement, but we'll get into that later. Felix not being one for liking to talk on how much he makes, actually has quite a bit of money to throw around, and likely if he wanted to, could probably retire right now and still live better than most of us combined. But it's important to note that YouTube and Disney are essentially shooting themselves in the foot if they're trying to make YouTube a platform that is the best. Let's talk a quick moment about why it seems a bit odd that Disney itself is a bit off when it comes to worrying about anti-Semitism. Never mind the whole Donald Duck and Mein Kampf thing, as well as the other racial stereotypes that they've created in the past few decades as apparently racism towards anyone and everyone, especially nowadays, against people with a slightly different shade of skin, is always apparently trendy. Disney knows for a fact who Pewdiepie is and what he does. As mentioned before, they bought Maker Studios as a way to get a hold of Pewdiepie, as he was their top player and knew quite plainly what they were getting when they purchased Maker Studios. Not to mention, another one of their A-listers on Maker Studios' roster is iDubbbz. So yeah, there's that. With everything being said, let's talk about Maker Studios here for a second, shall we? And YouTube too. First off, Maker Studios dropping Pewdiepie seems a tad suspicious for two reasons. First of all, they helped them make Revel mode and MCM specifically for Felix and whoever he wanted to add. Not to mention the fact that if they were truly worried about this so-called fascist ways in comments, you would think that they would have dropped iDubbbz ages ago, considering all the racist and provocative language and imagery he does. Not trying to hate on iDubbbz, as I quite love his Content Cop series, as well as how he is fighting the norms of language today, and I think we actually need people on both sides to have an actual conversation and to call out people who are actually wanting to do harm rather than occasionally hurting people's feelings. YouTube has dropped his family-friendly advertisements on his channel as a direct result of this. It shows in itself that either YouTube has not been paying attention to their biggest stars' content for the last few years, or they have already been paying attention and care more about the money they get from him instead, and this entire situation is a big PR stunt from both Disney and Maker Studios. Either that or they've been trying to get rid of him for quite some time. I don't think that the actions set in place right now, such as Scare Pewdiepie and preferred ads, are going to say lock them at a castle far away from Pewd's grasp. I reckon after all this cools down, it's likely they'll get some more reactions out of the media, which will be extremely skewed and twisted to get Pewds to apologize again, and then possibly reinstate Scare Pewdiepie, and at the very least his preferred advertisements. Disney and YouTube wanted Pewdiepie because he has a lot of YouTubers following him, a lot of subscribers following him, a lot of influence. So he's essentially the poster boy of whatever they want to sell. Through him, that is. Whatever they want to sell through him, that is. Whatever continues to happen in the next few weeks to even months regarding this scenario, the media should be dealt with. The media have had free rein from twisting facts and skewing all the information to make Felix seem far worse than he could ever be. Essentially, in other circumstances, people could sue over libel and slander and likely win too with the amount of evidence that they have. The sheer disregard for facts in these circumstances is horrendous and should be addressed. As if this can happen to the biggest member on the site on a global scale. What can anyone else do to stop the media, or anyone for that matter, falsifying facts and everything to try and ruin not only their careers, but potentially their entire lives? As by doing the smear campaign and bypassing PewDiePie and going to Disney themselves with all these so-called anti-Semitism remarks and Nazi imagery in an attempt to do a hit on Felix, which to be honest is clear as day to see and is also costing PewDiePie millions of dollars. Now, here's the good thing about all of this. Poor old Pewds doesn't have to worry about his career to end. And he has over 43 million subscribers at this point in time, which is a larger audience than some countries have citizens. He is sorted for money and popularity for years to come, and I don't think any media organization is going to change that. Not to mention, I have a feeling he's going to start fighting back against the media. And he's going to do some serious damage to them. And that is something that I would pretty much like to see. I think it's gotten to the point where PewDiePie just doesn't care anymore. He knows what they're doing. And he knows how to manipulate them. And he knows they are running themselves into the ground. So who knows, maybe he'll go out and fight them, maybe if he does, he'll have the entirety of YouTube at his back pretty much. Maybe not YouTube itself, but the majority of the YouTubers. And all the people following them, of course. So, to recap in a few sentences, Felix Schellberg is no racist. Yes, he may have gone too far to some and not to many others, depending on who you are and who you may not have been offended by his jokes or comments. And if you are, why are you not going after shows like South Park and Family Guy and such? It really does seem a bit hypocritical, really. He has since apologized and tried to make amends. If you recall, those Fiverr guys and also the Jesus guy got banned off of their websites. And with help from PewDiePie, he actually got them reinstated onto their websites, respectively. And also, they have been prospering ever since due to his influence. The media also skewing everything out of proportion, and YouTube and Disney's very airtight PR reaction campaign. And lastly, but not least, people need to chill the fuck out. I find it kind of funny that the same people who supposedly fake this shock and outrage while the day is young go out with their friends and make the same kind of jokes in private, while they try to out others for doing so in public. Clickbaity media is the real problem in this entire situation, and the people who are genuinely racist and have ill intentions on those things. The media organizations that are trying to make PewDiePie out to be one of those people when he clearly is not, they, the media, are making it much more difficult for actual hateful things to be taken seriously. We live in an age to be first, and to be the loudest, and to insult everyone around you, even if you are wrong. The people who feign outrage and force political correctness, and try to enforce how people should speak, are just making the problem worse. Hell, one of the things that fascism does is repress people's ability to speak openly or even honestly. But Felix Schellberg, Mr. PewDiePie, the undoubted king of YouTube at the moment, is not one of those people. He is neither racist nor a person who wants to control others. His countless charity contributions and want to help those around him succeed in simple openness and honesty with his fans and supporters does show the kind of person he is. Not to mention the amount of times that he's fought for smaller YouTubers. Yes, he may make millions a year, but at the same time, he's also fighting for the rights of smaller YouTubers so that they don't have their livelihood stripped from YouTube itself. And I think that in itself shows what kind of person, and yes, person, not just an entertainer, not just a creator, but a person that Felix Schellberg is. So as I was about 3/4 of the way through making this video, Felix has made a video response on his channel regarding the situation. He has stated quite clearly that he feels that he has made a mistake and took the jokes too far, and he has since apologized for it again. He goes on to say, quote, "I'm sorry for the words that I used, and I know that they offended people. And I admit that the joke itself went too far. I do strongly believe that you can joke about anything, and I also believe that there is a right way and not the best way to joke about things." End quote. I recommend you go watch the video and see for yourself whether you agreed with him or not. As a part note, I would like to say this. Do your research on everything you hear, whether it be something you hear from the media, well, especially if you hear it from the media, your family or your friends or even me, and be open to the concept that you may be wrong if you don't have all the facts. I openly admit that I am wrong too every now and then and try to seek out the truth wherever possible. The truth is so hard to get a hold of these days, and lies spread faster than the truth that it is a scary thought. Just so you know, I'm not monetizing this video as I don't want to make gains on someone else's misery or misfortune. I hope I helped you learn something new about everything going on and maybe give you a new perspective. That is, if you care, of course. Again, I just want to stress I don't condone any hateful acts or way of speaking. I uphold the freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean I have to put up with your bullshit, so keep that in mind to what I said at the start of the video, okay, boys and girls? I hope you enjoyed the video and let me know what you think about this down below in the comments. And again, links to the other YouTubers that I've watched that I thought I've done a great job in explaining this entire scenario. and links to all the website articles and stuff like that, and even PewDiePie's official response. Again, that's all from me. Thanks again, and good luck, guys.